Hello everyone, my name is Nathan, and today it's time to finally dive into the spaced out DLC of Oxygen Not Included. This DLC is basically a total game conversion mod with tons of new content, and it's absolutely insane how much actually changed. I will explain things as we go along. We already have 3 duplicants. First of all, we have Ashcan as our researching guy, definitely need one of those. Nicola is our digging and building guy, and then I have Otto, who also has an affinity towards digging. We're going to tackle one problem after another in order to get a good start, and before we do anything else, we want to have a look at the schedule. We want to shift the downtime slots one over, essentially taking away one of their bedtime slots. And as a matter of fact, we're also going to get rid of their bathroom time. They can do that in their downtime. In the beginning, it is important we have as much work time as possible. We're also going to have a look at the priorities, and you can see the affinities right here. We want to make sure that Ashcan is always researching whenever I tell them to research, and we want to make sure that new duplicants actually don't do any research at all. We're also going to have a look at the options here and enable proximity right off the bat. This is going to make them have the tendency towards going to the closest, most important errand. If we have a look at the surroundings, we can already see this is much different from the base game. We only start with a little bit of water. There's also some fresh water up top, but everything else is polluted water. Important to note is maybe that no germs are present at this moment. As we dig around, we want to be majorly careful that we don't dig anything beneath mud, since that has the tendency to fall just like sand. First things first, we want to dig towards the right and the left in order to free up some space for bathrooms and bedrooms. Now, this is actually fossil here, which I cannot dig that just yet. And that's not gonna leave me quite enough space. So we are gonna dig over and be very careful. For instance, if we dug up this space right here, all this mud is gonna fall down, and that would be very bad. So instead we're gonna do something like that. Let me actually measure this out. I wanna add 4 more tiles right here. Then I wanna have 2 tiles where I'm gonna install my ladders and fire poles. We're then gonna have a door tile right here, and then we need basically 16 tiles that we're gonna dedicate as our bathroom. So let's dig up a little bit more on this side. We also want to dig towards the left side, leaving out the oxalite, since that is going to provide us with more oxygen. Since there is a nasty polluted pool of water, I believe it is already time to make sure this is dropping down somewhere so we can get rid of it and possibly use it for our first farm. I also want 4 additional tiles right here, which means we're gonna start digging down here. This is where we are going to install our ladders. And also for the time being, where we're gonna drop the polluted water. With these preparations out of the way, let's unpause the game and get things started. Oh yes, do your thing. Our goal is to finish the bathrooms and the bedrooms in time for the first night. In the beginning, they are gonna suffer a lot, since most of what we are getting is polluted oxygen, and of course we have all that polluted dirt and mud, producing even more of that nasty polluted oxygen. We can see plenty of new features, such as this new resource list, where we can see all the new materials we're getting, but we can also keep track of them easily, including also the diagnostics, which is an interesting concept in order to get notified about important things. Anyways, now that we have a little bit of material, namely sedimentary rock, we want to get started with a bunch of ladders. I want to make sure that I don't do any build or digging commands that are not absolutely necessary in the beginning, but we need a way for the polluted water to drop down into this area. In the meantime, we keep on digging on the other side, and I believe since we have the materials, we should be able to set up the bathroom. We're gonna need wash basins, and I'm actually gonna get myself started with 2 of these. And in the plumbing section, we are going to need a couple of outhouses, the most basic ones, in order to get ourselves started. Another thing we're gonna need access to is the clean water, so let's go ahead and install a pitcher pump right there. It's not gonna last for very long, but it's better than nothing. In the meantime, my duplicants are digging and building. That is good, they have enough to do for the time being. Pitcher pump is already installed and my wash basins are being built. Otto is actually already done with the shaft here, which means in this case we can continue with our bedroom. So that's gonna go right here, and we need the space for at least 3 beds. On top of here, I'm gonna have my door, so this is gonna be the first bed, then we have the second bed, and the third bed is gonna overlap this plant that we have to uproot. Another thing I want to do right off the bat is increase the priority for my ration box, so most of the food is being brought directly over there as a higher priority. we have our wash basins in place. Of course, they're gonna get churny as soon as they start pooping and everything, and we want to make sure that as they leave the room, they actually wash their hands. Since this setup can become very messy very soon, I want to make sure that these wash basins have a high priority. As soon as we replace them, it's not going to be that important to always supply them. But in the beginning, very important that we always clean things up and keep it fresh. Looks like we're actually ready to set up our cots. So this is going to be the door, then 1 bed, 2 bed, and 3 beds. And of course this also needs a valid floor. And there we go, we already have the outhouses in place. Absolutely wonderful. They're going to require a lot of dirt, which in this DLC is actually a rarer resource in the beginning. Maybe another thing noteworthy is that you are not actually going to deal with hot temperatures in the beginning, but maybe the cold temperatures are going to be a bigger problem. And we're actually also starting with a couple of geysers right near the base, which is going to be quite handy. It actually looks as though we have a little bit of time on our hands, so let's actually set up this ladder. Maybe we're just going to complete this for the time being, and then on the top here I would like to set up my research station. In order to get that going properly, what we're actually going to need is a little bit of a cobalt or any other ore, but the cobalt is available to me at this point, so we're also going to dig that up. Maybe at this point what I should do is also mop up this liquid. This could actually become a little bit of a problem since I don't want my peeps to always get soggy feet. Okay, actually very nice. Looks like we have a little bit of free time on our hands. This was going quicker than I anticipated. I'm gonna set up my 3rd outhouse and sink. This is all cleaned up, very good. What we have to do is maybe free this up again, and auto seems to be fine. Yeah, let's continue. I want to make sure that these guys are built first, but then we can go ahead and set up our research station. And you can see it requires some ore that we're going to place here. This is also going to require a little bit of power. I want to set myself up 2 batteries. We're going to go with a hamster wheel in order to generate the power first of all. And we are also going to require a wire, of course, connecting everything up. There we go. We actually got another outhouse in the joint, which is wonderful. And the sink has been built as well. And there we go, it is now actually poop time. Everyone has the possibility to poop, and hopefully, since one sink isn't quite filled up yet, this is also gonna work. Yeah, the timing here was actually perfect. They are eating now, it is nighttime, and as long as they make it to bed before the nighttime is over, we are actually good and use the time optimally. Come on, Otto, don't slack around. There we go, that was a wonderful first cycle. During the nighttime, interestingly, we noticed that these plug slug critters actually come with a power output. Yes, they produce power during the nighttime and are definitely an early game option in order to get some free energy going. However, in the beginning we're gonna focus on the manual generator, and I wanna avoid having these all over the place, since the diet actually consists out of ore, which is too precious to me at this point of time. I'm also gonna clear my resource list over here, and the one thing we wanna probably track in the beginning is dirt. Actually, I'm also gonna track my fresh water source. For the next day, we also want to make sure we already set up enough building commands and other errands in order to get things progressing. So for instance, I would like, is this actually mud? Yeah, this is mud. So we will have to replace all of these tiles, and I want to make sure that this polluted water is dripping down as well. We're also already going to prepare the next area, and as I said, I want to make sure that I don't break through this room. I want to keep this critter separated, and hopefully they're gonna drop some eggs so the next generations will be able to take over. This looks like a reasonable amount of digging commands. Let's continue the cycles. Yes, a fresh new morning. Of course they're gonna keep on sleeping until they are actually completely topped off with new stamina. They seem to be focusing on disinfecting the outhouses. I'm not sure, that seems a little bit overdramatic at this point. If we check out this button here, disinfect buildings, we can actually decide how many germs are required before they start disinfecting, and I'm gonna double this number for the time being. Alright guys, back to work. There's a lot of digging to do. This oxalite actually disappeared. We can see this is being consumed rather quickly, but it is also giving us more breathable air, so no complaints from me. Now, to be completely honest, I would like to up the priority for all of these buildings. This should be built first. I want to get my research going as soon as possible, since the next problem we're gonna have to tackle is going to be the food. And there we go, that's what I'm talking about. Just the hamster wheel to go, and we can now already dive into the research tab. We have tons of filters here in order to find all of our buildings, but basically in the beginning we want to get started with our food production. To get this started ASAP, we're going for the farm tile right here. We can research a couple of things in a row. So meal preparation, which is also going to give us access to the tables and therefore a mess hall, which is going to come in handy in terms of dealing with their morale. Wonderful. Now that the research stuff is out of the way, I actually want to set up some more priorities. I want to make sure Nicola and Otto are always digging and building. So I'm going to up their priority for digging and building, which is going to make Ashcan actually use the hamster wheel in case we don't have any power left. For now, Otto is going to fill up the battery for the first charge, but as of this point, Ashcan should be doing it. In the meantime, we're getting rid of the nasty polluted water, and we're actually also going to open up this spot to drain even more. I'm also going to prepare this room in order to actually become a proper bedroom. And I want to make sure for the time being I have enough space in order to set up at least one more bed. We're also going to need a pneumatic door that we're going to place right there to actually make this a completed room. Ashcan, of course, is doing the proper research, so I'm pretty proud of him. We have basic farming researched, giving us access to a couple of important things, especially the compost is going to be important. We have all of that polluted dirt everywhere, and we're going to require the compost in order to convert that to normal dirt. In the meantime, I would like to set up my ladders for the other area. We need to be careful here a little bit. There is a piece of polluted water that could interfere with my normal water, and I don't want that. But we're going to keep on digging up a little bit. Actually, we are not. Yeah, this is mud. So we actually first need to find a way to drain all of that liquid. This means for the time being, I'm actually going to start digging up here, but essentially what I want is explore the surroundings. I believe these maps are much smaller than the standard map in vanilla. And one of my first goals is going to be to find space in order to be able to set up a bunch of solar panels. I'm gonna dig up approximately 2 levels, free up some space here to make sure we have more building space for future contraptions. Another thing I already want to go ahead and prepare is the mess hall that is going to be placed here. We're going to have another door, and this is going to be where in the future they're going to take their meals. At the end of cycle 2, now that we have our basic necessities, I'm actually going to give them a little more free time to make sure they always get to their bed in time. Now that the base also slowly grows, they might actually need that. Currently their downtime morale is +1, but as soon as I give them another slot, we already have +2, and therefore we can assign a couple of skills without issues. We are at cycle 3, Ashcan is still researching, but soon he's done and we can set up our first farm potentially. There we go, that's what I'm talking about. Access to the grill, the mess table, egg cracker, and the farm tile. The most interesting to me is going to be the farm tile, since there is a new starter plant that we can actually grow and potentially gain some food from it. Since Ashcan isn't researching anymore, he's gonna take care of all the other jobs, and I believe I already set his priority lower. Eventually I want Ashcan to also be a digger and builder, but I think for the time being I want to lower these priorities, so he's gonna take care of all the other things first. There we go, we already got a couple of farm tiles in the joint and we have 6 seeds. Perfect, let's go ahead and plant these. Also read up a little bit, we need oxygen, polluted oxygen, 10 to 30 degrees. We get 1840 kilocalories from them, not too bad. Yeah, we should be able to make this useful to us. So that is potentially another beginning problem solved, the food crisis. And we can see Ashcan is actually taking care of planting all these seeds, which is wonderful. Priorities, so important in this game. And we're just gonna keep on planting until we don't have any seeds anymore. However, we notice that we are losing dirt at a horrific rate, and I want to make sure we take care of that problem right away. So probably in the refinement we should have our compost. So probably in this spot I want to set up at least 2 composts. And another thing I suspect we're gonna need is a pitcher pump with access to the polluted water. So let's make sure we get this going as well. That's what I'm talking about. The printing pod is already ready for our first new duplicant. Let's see if we get a good one. We have Mima, good at cooking and researching, and not really my dream. Oh, farming and operating. This could be useful. However, I'm not really a fan of either duplicants. I think we're gonna wait for the next opportunity and just take the food instead. It is important that we are going to accept 1 or 2 more duplicants very soon, but I'd rather go into this let's play with caution, so we set up a solid base and don't get overwhelmed right in the beginning. Wonderful, that's what I'm talking about. Ashcan is just doing all the jobs, taking care of the compost, producing some more dirt for me hopefully. Let's have a look at the research one more time. Maybe there's something that we want to immediately unlock. For instance, to make our power a little more efficient, I think the jumbo battery should replace our 2 small batteries. Naturally, we're also gonna need an additional bed, so let's install that. As a matter of fact, this needs to be done quickly, so priority 9. It's almost nighttime. Come on, Nicola, you can do it. Just in the nick of time. Ashkan is taking on the research job again, but it is now nighttime, time to eat and poop. Let me actually go ahead and also track the polluted water, since we need those to irrigate the plants. In the meantime, I'm gonna set up some more building jobs so we can keep things going in the morning. Oh, I totally forgot. I didn't even accept someone new. Oh, never mind. Also, for the next cycle, I want to get my mess hall ready. We're already gonna place 4 tables for the next potential duplicant. Looking at the compost production rate, I might want to set up a 3rd one, and we're also gonna install our first storage bin. I want to set up this storage bin inside of a pool of water or polluted water, and it's gonna contain the polluted dirt, so we have less off-gassing of polluted oxygen around our base. Looking at my oxygen overlay, the duplicants basically breathed away all of the available oxygen inside of the bedroom, so I think it would be wiser to replace both of these tiles with another pneumatic door. This is gonna let some more air flow through. I want to make sure we have our priorities right, so these things are most important for me to build right now. Storage bin is already in place. I want to make sure we go into organic and store our polluted dirt in here, and possibly the polluted mud. I'm gonna leave that be for now. The polluted dirt is important in order to fill up the composts. And since we are not actively producing any oxygen, it's better to have polluted oxygen than no oxygen at all, I would say. There we go. Research is completed. We have access to the jumbo battery. We are going to deconstruct our existing batteries. It's going to be a little bit of waste of power, but at this point I just feel like it's worth setting this up. There we go. Power jumbo battery, you go right in there. If we have a look at our room overlay, we can actually see we successfully made a mess hall as well as some barracks, which is going to increase their morale, and with a little bit of luck they will actually learn their first skills soon. Let's have a quick look at the materials overlay, organics. I want to search for more dirt. That does not look promising at all. We are using dirt way quicker than we can actually produce it at this point, so maybe it's not the worst of ideas not to waste any more dirt for our outhouses and get into the sanitation research. This should give us access to everything we require in order to build a proper bathroom. Wonderful. Nikolai is charging up the jumbo battery. We have no more building or digging commands at the moment, but that allows us to clean up a few things in the meantime. Just to be sure, let's also have a look at the plants overlay. For instance, there is a plant we could automatically harvest. Maybe we're gonna harvest this plant here as well. You know, just a little bit of extra food and everything. Yeah, we're actually surrounded by cold biomes. This is insane. I wonder how that's gonna look downstairs. Oh, it's actually already the end of cycle 4. Holy cow. Okay. Well, I guess do your thing. As long as you wash your hands afterwards, I'm happy. Grabbing some food on the way back, going to the mess table, and they should have enough time to find their bed before the nighttime is over. Wonderful. So far, so good, I would say. Apart from the dwindling dirt. I actually thought about my research preferences for a little bit, and I think it's not yet time to go for sanitation. That might have been a stupid idea. What we might want to go for is employment first, so we get the water cooler, but also advanced research is going to be there soon. And then potentially we want to go into decor, and a little bit of automation is always useful. However, I need Ashkan to also take care of a bunch of other chores in the meantime, so it might be useful to first let him do a couple of things. As my new building project, I think I want to dig down here in order to be able to drain all of the water. So this is where my ladder eventually is going to go, but right here, of course, I don't want to interfere with my fresh water. And all we have to do is connect this and then potentially connect that, and we should be golden. We will then be digging upwards in order to drain this entire pool of water downwards. Let me actually see. I might want to remove a little something more in this case. Another thing I would like to do is uproot this plant, and we are gonna make another floor down here. In this case, we need to remove a couple of things here. But what I want to do is move my ration box over here. Looking at the gas overlay, we have some carbon dioxide already lurking here, and if we make this a little bit deeper, we would be able to get 2 tiles of carbon dioxide, and therefore the food is going to be in a sterile environment. Of course, eventually we might want to do something with chlorine, but for now that shall do the trick. Another thing I'm gonna prepare already, even though at the moment we don't have a cook yet, but I believe this is the space that I'm gonna need for an electric grill. You know, cooking your food usually results in better calories. And one more thing we could do is set up a sublimation station. That is a new item where you can input polluted dirt or mud in order to create some more polluted oxygen. Now, both of these things are going to require a little bit of power, so I'm gonna set that up here. I'm gonna actually make sure the power this time goes through the floor in order to stain a bit more decor. Things are out of the way, perfect. My ration box goes right here. They will be able to grab the food very easily, and also it's not too far from my cooking station. Alright, that's what I'm talking about. Nicola just earned his first skill, and we're gonna go straight into hard digging, that's for sure. He's also liking that. Gonna give him a nice fitting hat to that job. Hey voila, are you happy now? Looks pretty happy to me. This also means we should be able to finally dig through the fossils here, once again making things a bit easier on us. In my new ration box, I basically want to have a really high priority. By the way, I'm gonna change all the priorities once we have more machines, but for the time being, I want to keep everything edible in this ration box. This also means we should be able to deconstruct the other one. Great stuff. I'm also already gonna prepare my electric grill for the next day. Ashcan earned a skill point in his sleep. Of course he's gonna take advanced research, that is absolutely no question, since we're going into advanced research anyway soon. Another thing I might want to do is dig up some more food, and we can see there are a couple of cracks here and there that we could potentially scavenge for food. Otto also just got his first skill point, going into hard digging as well. Research is completed, we got access to the water cooler. We're gonna place one down right away inside of the mess hall. And now I might want to go towards automation though. Is there anything else that's pressing? I mean, the insulated tile would be nice to shield us from the cold. However, this is gonna require an awful lot of research. Man, it might be worth doing. Let's go into the supercomputer right away so we can do the advanced research and hopefully also get this out of the way. Anyways, let's go ahead and drain everything we have up here. This should all just drop down, right? Polluted mud and everything, and then it's gonna flow. We're also gonna remove this part. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. And this is why I set up another tile right here and made sure this is actually too white, because sometimes the draining process isn't that precise. New printables available. Let's see. This time we almost definitely have to get someone. We got Joshua with 11 athletics. This could be our runner. Cannot do cooking or digging errands though. An ugly crier and sticker bomber. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Joshua as our runner. Let's go ahead and do this. He's earned a skill point right away, and what I possibly want to do with him, let me see. He's gonna go into improved carrying possibly. Yeah, I think that's the best thing we can do. Plus 400 kilograms carrying capacity. Since he's our runner and has to transport everything everywhere, we already installed a bed and a mess table for him, so all he needs is some priorities. He's not gonna be digging or building anything at all. However, he's gonna focus on life support, then tidying. He's also gonna do some supplying and storing. I think that should be the priorities for now. All of that, of course, is still gonna change in the future. Maybe another thing we can do right away is turn off doctoring. And possibly another thing I want to disallow in the beginning is cooking until we get a cook. Sure thing, that's good for now. Welcome, Joshua. I hope you're gonna do your part for the colony. It's now time to do a little bit of mopping. I don't want any polluted water left here before we actually continue with our ladder all the way up here. This also means we can free up some more space that I'm gonna need latest with the advanced research. Advanced research is already completed and we get access to the supercomputer. I'm gonna place that here right away, get myself a wire going and add that. Now, one thing I'm curious about, do we already have sand as a filtration medium? 2.5 tons, not a lot, I have to admit. Actually, we're not gonna struggle too much with sand from the looks of it. There are a few pieces around. So just before we get into decontamination and get the deodorizer, we might want to spice up our interior decoration a little bit and get prepared for some automation. Actually, another thing I would like Joshua to do for the time being, but that's definitely going to be temporary, is some operation. So Joshua, you actually should focus on operation, especially when the manual generator needs work. Why are you idle? Falling material fell on the duplicants and displaced them. Ah, I see. Joshua is one confused bastard right now. In the meantime, we're gonna keep on digging upstairs, and I want to make sure that this polluted water is dropping down possibly at this point, right? And we're just gonna keep on freeing up a little bit of space, get those materials out of the way. Another important research completed, the ceiling lamp. We can actually install that above the research station in order to make things a little bit more efficient. So considering our setup, we possibly want the ceiling lamp right there, and that also means I would get another tile in the joint. And for the time being, we're just gonna lead the power straight up into that light. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna complete this room right away. Automation is already completed. I think we should now focus on cleaning the oxygen before we get into sanitation. So deodorizer it is. There it is. The airflow tile is also going to be useful, but we have to go through 3 researches in order to get to our goal. If I'm not mistaken, we should be able to upgrade our mess hall by setting up a flower pot. I believe the conditions actually changed. Yeah, we only need a +20 decor. Maybe that was always the case. The question is just, do we have a plant to place in here? Mellow. Yeah, that actually sounds good. Let's plant one of those. And we're poking through here, draining the polluted water from upstairs. I installed a pneumatic door so I can keep these critters in place. We're gonna keep on making our way upstairs, keeping in mind there is an ice biome about to melt. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Some copper upstairs. I wonder how far we actually have to go until we reach space. But that is something I would like to figure out as soon as possible. We just unlocked the airflow tile. I'm gonna take advantage of that right away by placing a couple of these. This way we can make sure the oxygen distribution works even better. Ooh, look at this, aluminium ore. Oh, I'm gonna enjoy these new materials. By the way, this is the teleporter transmitter, and we also have a receiver right here. So this is how we are gonna get from planet to planet, or asteroid to asteroid. If we actually have a look at the star map, everything changed here as well. So that's gonna be interesting to see what we can find on different asteroids. And actually physically go there, that is an important detail. By the way, this worked out. We now have made this a great hall, which essentially makes my dupes much happier. There it is, finally. Research completed and we got the deodorizer. Now something about this changed as well. I believe it now requires a little bit of power, isn't it? Yeah, they actually require just a tiny bit of power, but that is gonna make things a lot more interesting. I think at this point what I might want to do is set up my sublimation station on the top here. Let me see, this would be the dead center, so I want to have it off center by just a bit. We're then gonna take a couple of airflow tiles and I'm actually gonna encase this just a tiny bit, something like that. And on top of that we want to have our deodorizers. 2 of those, and of course we want to give everything the necessary power. And in this case I'm actually gonna deconstruct the sublimation station we have at the bottom. We can now also plant 2 more bog buckets. Joshua should take care of them. And maybe if I'm fast enough, I'm gonna be able to place another farm tile over there. Hold on, unreachable build, but they are still doing it. Okay, might be that we cannot reach it this way. On the other side, my deodorizer are now going to town, and this is absolutely amazing. So we can get rid of this nasty polluted oxygen. But it looks as though we might have to place them 1 more block up. And I think I'm actually gonna do that. Or we just take away this tile for the time being. Yeah, that might be easier. I'm gonna change this setup anyways. New printables are available. For my next duplicant, I might want to go into cooking. However, this guy farts frequently, releasing natural gas, and that is something I just don't want to deal with. Joshua's taking care of our farms at the moment. We don't need the farming guy, and also construction, we got this covered. So let's go for the care package. Alright, wonderful, look at this, this is already the vacuum, so we might want to have a look at where we can find some solar panels. We do need to research a lot, however, everything is gonna be necessary, but that makes me wonder, do we have to refine a couple of things? Yeah, we might have to unlock the metal refinery first and get that going. We just need a tiny amount of refined metals in order to place automation wires, but also other useful machinery. With me exploring already this far, I'm actually now noticing a couple of problems with my schedule, and I think I'm already gonna go for a 4th downtime slot, even though that's not really my ideal situation. However, sometimes I have idle duplicants. It's not like we have a ton of work already going on. However, what you could do now is clean at least the first 2 toilets. I think that would be a good idea. Wonderful, we have our first bog buckets ready. They do take a while in order to grow, but they will give me tons of calories that I can certainly use. And it's gonna give us enough time until we actually have a cook going. We can also plant 2 more of those. How long do they actually take? 6.6 cycles. That's not too bad. Time to get more airflow tiles in the joint. We can see this is already pure oxygen. We have a little bit of hydrogen going on, which I believe came from these boogers here. I'm now also going to set up a couple of storage bins. Actually not right here, but we want a good amount of them in the joint. We definitely have found space now. We're just missing a lot of dirt. Let's actually go back into the overlay and see if we can find some. Oh, looks like I was looking at the wrong thing before. Yeah, there's definitely some more dirt to be gathered. So let's take care of that next. With our storage bins completed, I want to make sure we are starting to clean things up a little bit. I mean, there is a lot of stuff that we potentially want to store. I guess for the time being, we're just gonna store everything except eggs, except consumables. And we also don't want to store any polluted dirt or mud for the time being. Just gonna go ahead and copy these settings over, so whenever people have nothing to do, they can take care of storing. Alright guys, I think with this cycle finished, we're gonna wrap up the first episode. I'm looking forward to the next one. We're gonna have to take care of fresh water, that's for sure. There's still a little bit left over here. Maybe we gain access to that right away, though I will have to come in from the top, so we don't spill anything. But yeah, this is gonna be a new, exciting, and hopefully long-lasting series, just like the last one where we did 2000 cycles. If you're in for this, definitely go ahead and subscribe. You would do me a huge favor. But with that out of the way, have a great time, and hopefully I'm going to catch you in the next one. Bye bye.